At the Blockworks Digital Assets Summit. It's an honor to speak with you about how the United States is going to dominate crypto and the next generation of financial technologies. And we're ending the last administration's regulatory war on crypto and Bitcoin, and that includes stopping the lawless Operation Choke Point 2.0.
So now that Donald Trump announced that the war on crypto is officially over and the Ripple vs. SEC lawsuit is over, XRP investors have been flooding the SEC with letters calling out the SEC for destroying lives. Many lost their life savings when they sued Ripple, crashing XRP overnight. And in the next few short minutes, you're going to hear this full clip from Trump. And guys, listen, this is as big as it gets. This is massive. Now, why would the market crash right after Trump delivers this announcement? Listen, this is all BS. With Trump dropping a major crypto bombshell, such as strategic crypto reserve, no sell-offs like Biden's administration, clear stablecoin regulation, the United States to become the crypto capital of the world, and yet the entire altcoin market is dropping right now. Since the beginning of September, we are down currently over 36%. So if you're holding crypto right now and you're wondering when will the madness end with all of these major bullish announcements barely affecting the price action on the charts, and even for XRP after a 4-year plus lawsuit, the most bullish news for this cryptocurrency comes out and it can barely pump like 10 to 15%, and now it's pulling back right now to $2.42. So in this video, we're going to talk about how the XRP ETF approvals are not what you think. And with Brad Garlinghouse talking about an inevitable XRP ETF approval to launch this year, we're going to discuss the actual effect that this will have on the XRP to the US dollar price chart. On top of that, what actually moves the markets that we need to pay attention to with what Jerome Powell is planning on doing here soon, and what Donald Trump said in a recent interview that will be the main catalyst for the next major move to the upside in the crypto market that we all need to be ready for. So if you are tired of getting all excited about bullish announcements about the crypto market only to realize that it has virtually no effect on your portfolio, and you want the truth, you want the facts for what is going to move the markets, then this is the video for you. So comment 777 if you're feeling blessed. If you're feeling bullish, let's run it.
Just 2 weeks ago, we hosted the first ever White House Digital Asset Summit, bringing together many of the world's top leaders in crypto for a conversation led by our White House AI and crypto czar, David Sachs, who's a fantastic and very brilliant guy. That same week, I signed an order creating the brand new strategic Bitcoin reserve and a U.S. digital asset stockpile, which will allow the federal government to maximize the value of its holdings instead of foolishly selling them for a fraction of their long-term value, which is exactly what Biden did. He got a fraction of their value. We're ending the last administration's regulatory war on crypto and Bitcoin, and that includes stopping the lawless Operation Choke Point 2.0. Operation Choke Point went beyond regulation, and I mean far beyond. It was a form of lawfare through government weaponization. Frankly, it was a disgrace. But as of January 20th, 2025, all of that is over. I've also called on Congress to pass landmark legislation creating simple, common-sense rules for stablecoins and market structure. With the right legal framework, institutions large and small will be liberated to invest, innovate, and take part in one of the most exciting technological revolutions in modern history. It's so big, it's, I think, as big as you can get. Pioneers like you will be able to improve our banking and payment system and promote greater privacy, safety, security, and wealth for American consumers and businesses alike. You will unleash an explosion of economic growth, and with the dollar-backed stablecoins, you'll help expand the dominance of the U.S. dollar, and many, many years to come, it'll be at the top, and that's where we want to keep it. We only want to keep it at the top, always. I can already see that the energy and passion of the crypto community is the kind of spirit that built our country, and it is exciting to watch as you invent the future of finance. And right here, it's going to be right here in the USA, the good old USA. Together, we will make America the undisputed Bitcoin superpower and the crypto capital of the world. Thank you. Good luck. God bless America.
All right, bull runners, welcome back to the channel. So guys, this is as big as it gets. With Trump, the president of the United States, a perma crypto bull that is saying stuff like this, but yet the market reacts in a negative way, we need to take a deep dive look into this video of what actually moves the markets, because we've been in a downtrend since December of 2024, and we've been in this bearish channel since January of 2025, leading a lot of people to wonder, how much further to the downside do we have to go, and when will there be a recovery rally in the markets, and how high will that bring every single altcoin other than Bitcoin, or do we have further down to go? So let's discuss it and let's dive right in. Okay, the first thing that I want to talk about is XRP. I covered this in my video yesterday. XRP is just ranging between resistance and support, and anything that happens within this range between these two horizontal yellow boxes is irrelevant until one of two things happens. Number one, we either break resistance, hold it as support, or we break support, hold it as resistance to confirm either an uptrend or a downtrend, because we've been ranging sideways since the 2nd of December. Yes, we've technically been in a downtrend since the 16th of January, but if we zoom out, this is just a sideways consolidation right now after the breakout since late November. So the majority of this lawsuit news was priced in. My assumption on this now, after seeing what's happened with all this announcements, is people are numb to it, and this price action right here from 50 cents all the way upwards of $3 was from major insiders, whales, and institutions knowing that the lawsuit was going to end and buying up XRP, and also potentially knowing what Donald Trump was going to announce about made in America cryptocurrencies, which is why we saw XDC pump as well too, Algorand, XLM, HBAR, Cardano, and a few others. So a lot of people are going to tell you that XRP is going to explode when the ETFs are finally approved, but is that actually true, or is an XRP ETF approval already priced in with this pump for XRP from 50 cents to $3? Well, let's look at the Bitcoin to the US dollar price chart, because the Securities and Exchange Commission approved a spot Bitcoin ETF on January 10th, 2024. And shortly after that, we saw Bitcoin sell off from about $47,000 to $38,000 because the SEC announced that the Bitcoin ETF was approved, and shortly after that said that their account was compromised and an unauthorized post was posted. The SEC has not approved the listing and trading of spot Bitcoin exchange traded products. Now, don't you find this a little fishy that they say their account was compromised, it was not approved, and then one day later, after the date here, you can see January 9th, Gary Gensler made a post or a video saying that it was approved, and I think he deleted it because you can see right here, January 9th, it says the SEC Gov Twitter account was compromised and an unauthorized tweet was posted, but they knew they were going to approve it because a day later they did. So they've been playing games with us this entire time. Look at Ethereum's price chart right here. On July 23rd of 2024, the SEC allowed the first spot Ethereum ETF to start trading. This followed the approval of the spot Bitcoin ETF in January. And look at what happened. Literally days later, the price crashed from $3,532 all the way down to $2,100, over 40% in 13 days. And if you look at when the SEC approved the Bitcoin ETF, well, that market manipulation dropped Bitcoin's price 15% to $41,000. And then 12 days later, by the 23rd of January, even after the ETF was approved, the price dropped 21%. So it's not the ETF approval news that is bullish for the market. And that's just been proven from Bitcoin dropping 21%. It's what happens after the fact that we need to talk about in this video, because Ethereum's price dropped 40%. So a lot of people are going to tell you that an XRP ETF is bullish for XRP, and in the long term it is, but in the short term, it's important that we know the truth about the effect that this will have on the price chart and what is actually going to grow your portfolio. Let's listen to what Brad Garlinghouse said.
XRP ETF, when?
I think we're going to see it, I think it'll probably be 2025.
Next year?
Yeah,
all right.
Not too far away.
Good to see you. Let's see if that happens and if it comes to pass.
Why do you think XRP wasn't specifically named in the executive order for the digital asset stockpile?
Well, so XRP was named by the president on Truth Social. He posted something saying that there should be other tokens, that there's going to be a Bitcoin strategic reserve and then a crypto stockpile that would include things like XRP.
But days later, the executive order didn't include it. Why was that?
I don't know what specifically was in the executive order. My understanding is there's going to be a Bitcoin strategic reserve. There'll be a crypto stockpile representing other cryptos. And I would expect that will include XRP. Look, at the end of the day, I think the stark contrast is in the Biden administration, we couldn't get a meeting with people at the White House. now we're welcomed into the White House. And that's just a massive change. And I think we want this industry to thrive in the United States. We don't want to push it offshore where you have fewer regulations.
I think the reason I keep pushing you too is because I think now it's widely accepted that this is a pro-crypto administration. But the details, that is what's causing an overhang, the uncertainty of the details. So to the extent you have confidence, right, about XRP being in that stockpile or otherwise getting more support for an ETF, for example, where does that confidence come from and what kind of timeline do you see it happening on?
So I have immense confidence on the ETF. I think there's 11 different filings pending with the SEC to launch ETFs from everybody from Bitwise to Franklin Templeton and a whole bunch of people in between. I think those will be live in the second half of this year. We have seen even outside the United States, you have live ETPs. And at a time when a lot of outflows are exiting some of the crypto ETFs, you're seeing inflows into XRP. And I think that's because you had this false negative pressure from the SEC, this kind of, you know, an exogenous hand holding things down that's now being released. And that's great for the market. It's great for builders within the XRP ecosystem globally.
One more on the stockpile.
Yeah.
How much XRP would be in it? Where does it come from?
Well, my understanding of what I read about I think there are some questions and that, you know, the devil may be in the details as Treasury implements some of this.
Absolutely in the details.
But my understanding is that the stockpile will be represented by seized other cryptos other than Bitcoin that then will be in that stockpile. So to the extent that various law enforcement agencies have seized cryptos, which would include XRP, that those would go into the stockpile in addition to the Bitcoin strategic reserve. That's my understanding.
So it doesn't mean that the government is going to be buying XRP, Cardano, or Solana. It just means that they would be holding those altcoins that they have seized in different lawsuits. And while having ETFs for, you know, XRP, Ethereum, Bitcoin, and eventually Solana and other altcoins is bullish for the market, there is a broader macro market picture we need to look at for what actually moves the price charts. Because it's clear as day that when Trump speaks about things like tariffs, well, it definitely spooks the markets and we see sell-offs. It's not just all about what's happening on the price chart. That's why fundamental and technical analysis go hand in hand. And speaking of fundamental, Jerome Powell just recently gave his FOMC speech, and this is what he said about Trump's tariffs and inflation.
Some of it. The answer is clearly some of it. A good part of it is coming from tariffs, but we'll be working, and so will other forecasters, to try to find the best possible way to separate non-tariff inflation from tariff inflation.
And so one of the main things that will move XRP, Bitcoin, Ethereum, the rest of the altcoin market is inflation. For example, Donald Trump posted this from his Truth Social account that made it to Twitter, saying the Fed would be much better off cutting rates as U.S. tariffs start to transition, ease their way into the economy. Do the right thing. April 2nd is Liberation Day in America. And so the attention is in the detail here. Listen to what Trump said about interest rates.
Meantime, guess what? Interest rates are down for the last 3-4 days at good levels. I mean, you know, when you add interest rates, you're talking about it's gone down. I've been saying, let's get interest rates down. You know, nobody ever gets rich when the interest rates are high because people can't borrow money. Interest rates are going down. You know what else is going down? What have I been trying to get down?
Oil.
Energy. Energy's going down. I'd love to see energy go down. You know, energy is really what caused it. They screwed up my energy. I had the most energy, and they screwed it up. Then they went back to it. It was going through the roof. They went back to some drilling, but it was gone. It was hopeless. It was lost. But energy's gone down, and interest rates have gone up over the last week. That's a big thing. I love that.
So there's really 5 major things that would cause interest rates to come down that would directly affect the market, because currently the Fed has been pausing on the effective federal funds rate since December 2024. And we've seen this before. If we zoom out on Max, the last time that we saw the Fed go from raising rates was all the way back here in 2016 to 2018 to pausing rates, then cutting rates, and then pausing for a period of time was right here, 2019 to 2020, that inevitably led to them having to cut rates in response to the pandemic. So are we just simply repeating what happened around 2020 before the next major leg up in the market? And will it take a recession for that to happen?
April 15th, 2025. This is a huge date because it's the deadline
for 2 high-paying tax credits that you probably haven't heard about, but you can still get if you take action right now. We've partnered with the relief consultants who are experts in the tax code who've recovered over $100 million for their clients so far. So if you're a business owner or an entrepreneur, listen up so we can get you help and reach our goal of recovering $10 million for the Bull Runners community before the April 15th deadline. So here's how it works. If you're a business owner who had employees in 2021, then you qualify for an average $150,000 check from the Treasury and possibly more with the Employee Retention Credit Program. So if you were told in the past that you don't qualify, get a second opinion now through the link in the description below this video, because there are rules and regulations that have changed just recently. So there's a high likelihood that you do qualify now. And if you sold your business or you shut it down, you still qualify as long as you were active in 2021. So don't miss out. Schedule an appointment with the link below. Just click business owner with employees if it applies to you. There's also a second tax credit that also ends April 15th. So this is for the bull runners who are self-employed in 2021. So if you were a 1099, not W-2, and self-employment was your primary income, the Treasury check for this tax credit can go up to $32,220 with an average of $17,000. So if you were self-employed in 2021 and want to see if you haven't claimed this credit, which nobody has from our community thus far for some strange reason. We've been talking about this in several videos. I don't know, man. Maybe you just want the Treasury to keep your money. But if you want to get money back in your pocket, then schedule a consultation. Don't be lazy. Do this right now before April 15th through the link below. Just click self-employed if you think you qualify for both credits. Let the rep know on the call. And by the way, if you have your tax returns from 2020 and 2021 for this credit, it will be a faster turnaround for you. So have them ready on your call, and they can literally tell you if you qualify on your first call to get you paid. So if you need more money back in your pocket for this bull run, take action right now, click the link, and let's get you paid. Well, central banks raise rates to combat high inflation, and for rates to fall, inflation would need to consistently decline toward their target. So the Fed, Jerome Powell, has said their target is 2%. So if price pressures ease, say due to lower energy costs, stabilized supply chains, or reduced consumer demand, policymakers might feel confident enough to lower rates. And as you can see right here on tradingeconomics.com, inflation has gone from 3% to 2.8 for February. So if it continues to come down for March's data, that would give the Fed more confidence to start lowering rates. Number 2 would be economic growth slowing. So high interest rates often slow economic activity because it's just more expensive to borrow money, take out loans, you name it. And if growth weakens too much, evidenced by sluggish GDP, rising unemployment, or a potential recession coming, central banks may cut rates to stimulate borrowing, spending, and investing. So currently the GDP is not slowing down, with quarter 4 of 2024 at 29,719, higher than it was for Q3 of 2024. It's at an all-time high. Unemployment hasn't been rising. In fact, it's been dropping since November 2024. It went from 4.2 to 4.1 to 4.0. Sure, this little tick up right here from 4.1, but that's not anything for the Fed to really be concerned about, because Jerome Powell said they're watching 4.4%. If it starts to go above 4.4%, then they might start lowering rates. Number 3 would be the labor market softening. A tight labor market, which is low unemployment and high wage growth, can fuel inflation. So if unemployment rises or wage growth slows significantly, signaling less pressure on prices, central banks might see room to lower rates. So right now, unemployment is low, but the wage growth has been dropping since August of 2022 from 6.7% to currently 4.3%. So this is not giving the Fed a signal to cut rates right now. Number 4 would be global conditions stabilizing, like geopolitical tensions overseas, ending the Russia-Ukraine war, which is what Trump is trying to do. Commodity price shocks or financial market instability can keep rates elevated. So a calmer global backdrop, say a resolution of the war or steady oil prices, could support a rate cut. And then number 5 would be major policy shifts, like a pivot for Jerome Powell from saying we're keeping the rates higher for longer to a stance of prioritizing growth over inflation fears. That's a precursor to cuts. And in my video a week ago, I talked about truflation compared to the inflation data that they're showing on tradingeconomics.com. It shows it at 2.8%, whereas truflation shows it for March at like 1.4% all the way down here, dropping rapidly. So truflation tends to lead the CPI by 45 days. So since February, Truthflation nosedived to 1.32%. Core inflation year over year is expected to drop, which sure enough it did. So this is actually extremely bullish for crypto once this data comes out and it actually shows where inflation is really at for March. And if we put the Fed funds rate right here in purple at 4.33 up next to total 2, which is the crypto total market cap excluding Bitcoin, we've seen the majority of this bull run happen while the Fed went from finishing up their rate rising to pausing rates since 2023, middle of the summer. That pump in the market from $500 billion all the way up here to 1.2 trillion happened while the Fed was pausing their rates. And then we saw this next pump to the all-time high while the Fed started cutting rates. So if we go all the way back here to 2020, we can see the bull market started in 2019 when the Fed paused their rates, and when they started cutting rates, that's when there was major volatility. And it wasn't until they rapidly had to cut rates in response to COVID because the crash had already started. Then the Fed started cutting rates in response. So it's not going to be, in my opinion, one of those things where the Fed rapidly starts cutting rates, then there's a recession. It'd be there's a recession first, and then they cut rates in response to that. And we just don't know if there's going to be a black swan event like what happened with COVID. So a lot of people are on edge right now. They're afraid because they still have PTSD of the last bull run. But it's clear as day that when rates bottomed out, and the M2 Global Liquidity Index in yellow here started to tick up right at the exact same time. So the Fed started printing more money, adding to their balance sheet, interest rates were lower. That was the perfect storm for the crypto bull run to happen. And sure enough, that's exactly what took place. While rates were low, M2 was high. After March of 2020, look at what happened to the Fed's balance sheet. In terms of total assets in millions of dollars at 4.2 million right here by March 2nd, well, by April 20th and even June 8th, it was at 7.1 million. So because the Fed drastically added to their balance sheet, these are the most important things to watch next. It's not necessarily an ETF approval. It's these three things right here. The Fed adding to their balance sheet. So currently the Fed has not been adding to their balance sheet. They've been tightening QT, quantitative tightening. We need to see QE. Number two would be M2 increasing here in yellow. And this is just simply, you guys can add this on TradingView as well too. The M2 Global Liquidity Index hasn't really started to break out yet. We're almost there. Very similar to where we were right here, like December of 2019 or April of 2020, when we were just forming higher lows on the M2 Global Liquidity Index and higher highs. And then bam, when the breakout happened, that's when the crypto market broke out as well too. So since November 2022, we've been doing the same thing. We've just been forming higher lows and higher highs. So we would need to see bang global liquidity M2 breakout in order to see the crypto market breakout as well too, in my opinion. So that's number two, M2 global liquidity. And then number three would be the effective federal funds rate to come down to make it cheaper to take out loans. And as Donald Trump said, nobody gets rich while rates are high. So he wants rates to come down as well too. So those are the three main things that I can see. And if we look at the Fed balance sheet right now, if we just zoom into where we're at, if this rounds out and bottoms out and the Fed starts to add again while announcing that they have plans to drop interest rates in the next up and coming meetings, which if we go to cmegroup.com, which says the next time until the FOMC meeting takes place, 47 days is the next meeting, we will know only then what the Fed is going to do. Until then, we just have projections, right? So the projection is 83.1% are expecting 425 to 450 basis points. And then you can just look right here where it says current. That's where we're at right now. So 83% of the market are expecting this purple line right here, which is the effective federal funds rate, to just go sideways for another meeting. So, well, then the next question is we have to ask is when's the meeting after that? Well, it's June 18th. Now we're starting to tip the tide here where 61.8% are expecting a 25 to 50 basis point rate cut. So I don't think it'd be 50 basis points. I think it'd be 25 basis points in the summer. And depending on Jerome Powell's stance the next meeting, if he starts to announce that we're going to be potentially dropping rates coming in the summer, then that might mean that they would be adding to their balance sheet as well too. Global liquidity would start to increase. And so even if on this yellow chart right here at the top, which is the M2 Global Liquidity Index, comes down a little bit further, eventually I think this will start to break out. And when the Fed makes the move on the interest rates and starts dropping them, which is what Donald Trump wants, and what that man wants, he's going to get. He's going to push for it, guys. So get ready for it. I think that's what's going to be the next major catalyst in the crypto market to push the markets for the final fifth wave in the Elliott wave before we go into the major recession, the major bear market that everyone is waiting for the 4-year market cycle theory, like what happened last bear market, the bear market before then, and even the bear market before then. So until then, the best thing that you can do is prepare yourself by understanding where that liquidity is going to flow when they issue quantitative easing, they add to their balance sheet, they lower interest rates. Money's got to flow somewhere. And there's a few key sectors in crypto that our research team has found that we're going to share with you guys inside of Altcoin Pro University. For example, our research team posted GOAT on the 13th of October of 2024 when it was right at a penny, and since then it rallied to over $1, 5,000%. That's like turning $1,000 into over $50,000. Our team called Pendle at only a $16 million market cap, or 16 cents, back on February 18th of 2023, all the way back here, and since then it's rallied up over 4,000%. That's a 40x. It's like turning $1,000 into over $40,000. Our team also called BitTensor Tau September 15th, 2022, before the token was ever even launched. And since then, Tau has rallied over 2,000%. That's a 20x. Our team even said Solana is most likely to be one of the easiest trades next year, and this was posted December 29th, 2022, on the day that Solana bottomed out at around $8. And since then, Solana looks like it's up over 2,500%. That's a 25x. It's like turning $1,000 into over $25,000. The list goes on and on and on. Our team called Sui, Ondo, and even some of the biggest cult-based meme coins like MOG back in July 20th of 2023, the day that MOG launched. So if you want to learn how our team is finding these altcoins before they explode, we just launched Altcoin Pro University, where our research team gives you real-time altcoin picks with explosive potential for this bull run, along with 100+ expert curated classes crafted by industry experts to discover these gems yourself, on top of our live weekly calls every single week for in-depth crypto market analysis and daily updates. And that's just a fraction of what we offer inside of Altcoin Pro University through the link below. And although we make no guarantees because crypto is definitely risky, guys, this is only $97 a month or $970 a year. If you want to save $194, getting 2 months for free and unlock some exclusive bonuses, just go through the link in the description below, get in right now, watch the 26-minute video covering everything that Altcoin Pro University offers to help you become the first millionaire in your family tree, if that's a goal of yours. And you can get started through the link in the description below right now, or you can go to bullrunners.com to take advantage of the bonuses we're giving you before they expire. Everyone is loving the community. They're loving the education. They're getting access to real-time altcoin picks first before we ever make videos about them. So click the link in the description below, watch the video, and I'll see you on the inside.